And welcome back. Welcome back to Zanpakuto Creation Series. Sorry about that, folks. And there was I did something I didn't think I was gonna do, and it's kind of changed some things with the. I've been kind of putting off updating my OBS for a little bit, and I see why I did that because upon updating, things aren't working the way they were. I'm still able to do this video without any problem. However, I have to be wary about if I have like my cam on, because if I change from an image while my cam is on, my cam just freezes. You can still hear me, but my image just freezes in place. Now, like turning the OBS on and off restarts it, but I'm like, okay, I got to figure out what the deal with that is. Regardless, though, we're not here to talk about my issues. I also need to get a new phone tomorrow. That's irritating. But regardless, let's have some fun. This goes with some Shadows 82. What is, in Zanpakuto Creation Series, what is the Zanpakuto of the MCU's Lady Sif? Jamie Alexander, who I very much like in the role. She's fine. Glad to see she showed back up in Thor Love and Thunder. What is the Zanpakuto of this character? And this isn't... See, I knew what kind of Zanpakuto-ish I wanted initially with the character, because she strikes me kind of quality-wise, personality-wise, although a bit more rash and hard-headed, admittedly, a little bit like a Byakuya-type character. She's very much a warrior, but she's got a code of honor, but she's also clearly a younger character than like some of the older Asgardians, so has less wisdom. But you can make an argument, Byakuya was like that too at one point. It's all about full Asgard with any of these individuals. So I did liken her a little bit. Now, obviously, not a one-to-one, but liking her to that. So I got to thinking on it, and I already knew like what the name of it. What the Shikai name was going to be. I immediately something in my mind came to this release, and that translated to this. But I'm like, as I went through the idea of what her blade could do, I'm like, Byakuya's type of Zanpakuto is a weird one, because Byakuya doesn't have a straight-out Kido Zanpakuto, nor does he have a straight-out melee Zanpakuto. He has a weird blend, a weird mix. His basically does a Kido ability that turns it into a large, wide-scale melee ability, but doesn't have to be, like, connect... You know what I mean? Because Zenbo's Zakura is just 1,000 blades he's controlling, and Kageyoshi's 1,000,000. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of a melee, but it's kind of Kido. It's a weird in-between. And I'm like, what is a weird in-between for that? And the more I thought about it, especially when I ultimately gave her the release in the name I did, I realized I got to move away from that concept and go with the new one. So hers is not a Kido type. Hers is a melee elemental type with the katana with the release Soar. Now, the name of this blade is very simple. It's Silverwing, or, depending on your pronunciation, Shiru Baingu, or Ginhane. I like Ginhane better. Or Heine, I should say. Ginhane. It's either Hane. Now, that could be Hane, Hane, Heine. Let me just try a few versions of the name. Because Gin is silver. That's what Gin's name actually translates to silver. So it would be either Ginhane, Ginhane, or just Ginhane. I like Ginhane the best in terms of pronunciation, but I leave that for you. So it's Silverwing. The Bankai would be Heaven Silverwing, which translates either to Tengoku no Ginhane, or Tenno Goku. Tenno Ginyoku. Tenno Ginyoku, or Tengoku no Ginhane. I like Tengoku Ginhane a bit better. Now, the form that this Zanpakuto takes is really it's very simple. It's a wing-shaped scimitar. A scimitar is exactly what Shunsui's Zanpakuto, Katen Hyotsu, turns into. But think of this, but shaped more like a hawk's wing. Something like that. The spirit, as you can kind of get, would be hawk-based, but I liken it more to a hawk-like humanoid. Think, this is a Valkyremon, a Mega Digimon from Digimon. something like this, but a lot less extravagant. This is like freaking boss level design. Well, Digimon, love Digimon because they go so extra on their designs. But yeah, no, something like this. Obviously, take out the gold bird, lessen a little bit of the armor. Maybe take out the gold on there too, and maybe take out the extra belt, and maybe you can still have like the wrapping. It'd also be a female spirit because I don't see her having a male spirit. While she does have some male influences in her life, it's not like something that's fundamentally shaped who she is. The only male characters we know who have female Zanpakuto spirits all seem to be male characters who had a very strong female influence in their life. Urahara, we don't know his influence. We could maybe guess it was either his mother or maybe even Yoruichi, but we can guess that was the case. We know that Ashiro, the 8th or 9th Kenpachi, had a female Zanpakuto spirit, which looked like his sister, who was very influential on his life. And obviously Kenpachi's is Yajiru, who obviously Yuretsu Nohana was the person who had the biggest influence in his life. There's one, and then Shunsui Kiraku has, Katen Kyotsu as his female spirit. And yeah, we know he had, the women in his life played a huge factor in, shaping who he was. So we don't really see that for the male spirits, though. It's possible Minazuki is a male spirit, but we just never see Minazuki. So, and it's never referred to as a man or a woman. So that's a little debatable. And before you go and say, it's like, no, we know Zabimaru is not a woman. It's not even two spirits, technically. I mean, technically it is, but it's technically not. And we know it's a male because we've heard it speak. That was just filler arc, so you can't use that. I digress, though. So, what does the Zanpakuto do? Well, it's a very simple blade. Think Ichigo Zangetsu, but instead of firing off a giant crescent Ryatsu energy slash, it's firing off a crescent slash of wind. It's a cutting slash of wind. Very simple. Just fire, and maybe even has an attack, wind. I mean, could be Inuyasha's wind scar, but no, like crescent slash. Airstrike, whatever you want to call it, but it's a very now it can be very powerful. Just because you have one simple attack doesn't mean you can't be powerful. Again, look at Ichigo. Getsugatenchu is a pretty powerful attack, but no, I think it'd be very simple that way. And then her Bankai, I don't have an image for this. I go kind of what I did with the Lucifer Morningstar Zanpakuto series, where she kind of looks like a Seraphim. But more Seraphim wing style, but to emulate, the Valkyries of Norse mythology. But the wings aren't wings; they are all just these scimitars that admittedly are shaped like wings, a little larger than an average sword. Instead of her standard katana, maybe it goes to the size of a kodachi, but a scimitar the size of one. And she's basically got these things on her back, and she manipulates them. It can even at any point grab two of them, fight with them while she's still got four on her back, and she can now just summon and fire massive cutting blades of wind at will at her desire. And, there's a combination attacks you can do as well. I mean, like Ichigo used 2 Getsuga Tenshos at once for Getsuga Jujitsu. She could do that. She could do 2 at once, 3 at once, 4 at once, going all the way up to the 6 at once. And, that'd be like a super attack. In theory, you could maybe create a tornado of blades. Of wind blades, if she, practiced well enough. Maybe starts twirling them, kind of like a Rasen Shuriken kind of style, just spinning the blades on her back and just causing more and more wind blades, except concentrating them with her Ryatsu and then summoning like a giant cutting tornado of doom. There's actually, if you really think on it, and if you were the character and practiced enough, there's a lot you can do with just a simple base ability. So yeah, and then maybe she actually can not combines them, but they all line up and stick together like there was one giant sword, and she just does one super giant slash. There's many things you can do. Also, they can move independently. As Shinigami, she doesn't really need them to fly, but theoretically she can use them for flight. They're kind of hovering behind her. Honestly, she probably doesn't need to do that, and they can move independently. She needs to. She probably keeps them on her back at least 1 or 2 on her back at all time. So yeah, I think this would be a really cool Zanpakuto. It would fit this type of character too, I think. A warrior, but has the eye. something about Jamie Alexander. First, a very attractive woman, but she's got like that predatory bird, like a hawk. She's got a hawk face, and I don't mean that in a bad. I mean, if you were to look at her and think of an animal, you would think probably like a bird of prey. So that's why the whole bird of prey wind stuff just kind of rolled off me in my mind. And it would work well because Thor controls lightning. Actually, he can control multiple elements, but lightning's his big one. So having someone who controls wind as like someone who is his not sidekick, but his partner, warrior in arms, that would make a lot of sense. Now, weakness-wise, it does only have the one ability. There's only so much you can do with the one ability, particularly in Shikai. Obviously, Ryatsu versus Ryatsu, that kind of is self-explanatory. Also, I can imagine this being overpowered by like things like fire-based Zanpakutos. As we see in Naruto, wind is weak to fire and strengthens fire. And honestly, the logic would probably apply into the Bleach world too, where wind fans and increases the power of the flames. I could see this also being one of those things where if someone's just got a superior ability, like defense-wise, or is just faster, she can't catch him. Well, this doesn't mean anything. But overall, I mean, you can make the argument for like Getsuga Tensho. If your Getsuga Tensho can't hit the opponent, they're faster, well, that means nothing. You'd have to catch the opponent off guard. Either way, though, this is the Zanpakuto I have for the MCU's Lady Civ. Let me know what you think. Do you like this Zanpakuto? And if not, what would you do differently if you were to do her Zanpakuto? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks for the next one.